Hey, check it out, Rob Zception. Rob Z in the back, me in the front. Yeah. All right. Well, that could be worded better, but my name's Jack. I'm Rob Z's friend and the sponsor of the shop that we've been doing all the work on his stuff on. I also have a couple Toyotas, as you might have seen, floating around in the background. This project is what I'm going to call the $5,000 FJ80 daily driver project. So the goal is to get a decent, reliable daily driver for all costs included, less than $5,000. These things seem to be going up in price a lot, and I wanted to see if I could do it. But also, basically, just started off with me getting a good deal on an FJ80 from one of my buddies, and just kind of materialized from there. $5,000 is kind of arbitrary, but I figure if you can build a solid daily driver off-roader for $5,000, why not? So this is my 1991 FJ80. 1991 was the first year that this was available in the United States. It's a little rough around the edges, so the bumper's removed because it was crashed at some point. Didn't really damage anything else. There's a little bit of a dent right here. This side was kind of pushed in, but no frame damage. Everything looks pretty good. The paint's seen better days. It's got some spody on it. And I'll just do a quick walk around here. Actually, let me turn this light on. There you go. So there is a few things that I've done to it so far. What I've done before this video, let me start the story, I guess. So basically, I have a buddy who, oh good God. Alright, so I have a friend that has a car dealership. He mostly sells used cars, but every now and then he gets some kind of weird deal. He had this thing sitting around in his lot, maybe for a few years, probably 3 or 4 years. And I texted him one day, and he was saying that he had a bunch of sport utility vehicles. He had a Range Rover and this FJ80 for sale. And so I asked him how much for the FJ80, and he said $1,600. And I said, okay, if you're gonna make me buy it, I'll buy it. Jeez. Anyways, I couldn't really turn it down. It was running and driving, sort of. I mean, it's so. Anyways, it was 300 miles away from where I live, in my hometown, and so I went down there I bummed a ride with some of my friends that were going down there anyways, and the idea was to buy this early Saturday morning, fix whatever was wrong with it, whatever it needed to be driven, and then drive it back up to Houston. It's about 300 miles, like I said, so 6 hours, 7-hour drive. Kind of a tall order, and I failed miserably. But basically what I fixed when I got it was the rear brakes and the brake master cylinder. I redid all the pulleys on the engine. But basically the brakes were still really bad after we finished the rear brakes. Those were the only ones that were leaking, so we figured that would be it. And it had some kind of weird steering slop, so when I got it back to Houston, I replaced the steering column with a used one I found on eBay. Turns out there's a little bushing in there that was causing a lot of slop. It felt real sketchy, but now it's good. And then I pieced together the dash. So the story behind this is that the original owner passed away, and then it sat at the guy's estate for probably a few years, neglected, and someone tried to steal it at some point, and they completely destroyed the trim on the interior here. So all of this was all cracked into a million pieces, and I actually fiberglassed and epoxied it back together. The other thing I've done is the shift boot, and actually this is a pretty cool interior. It's a cloth interior. Probably the most desired ones are the 94 to 97 with the leather interior and the E-lockers front and rear. I don't know. I think the E-lockers are kind of overrated myself. I mean, let's see, if it's a 94, you're talking about, what, 25-year-old parts. Are they really going to work that well? I don't know. Probably get a lot of hate from the Land Cruiser community on this, but I feel like most of the people that are concerned about the lockers probably don't use them anyways. So aftermarket lockers are pretty easy to do and relatively affordable. So I mean, I don't know. I don't see the value. Anyways, back seats relatively clean. I did do some cleaning up. There's still some stuff you could see, like the window tint. Third row seating, which is really cool. I like that. Let's see, this is a plexiglass window, but it looks decent. So the other thing that I've done on this is there was some rust on the roof. There used to be a aftermarket roof rack, and there was a few rust holes, so I went ahead and patched those up. Just didn't want any water getting in. And then I basically just sat on the project for a while we finished up Rob Z's 60. So let me show you under the hood. But yeah, like I said, the goal for this is keep it under $5,000, at least for initially getting it going, driving it around. I've got it titled, registered, insured. So the goal is to finish all the stuff I need to do this weekend, and then I'll be driving it by next week. So have a look at the engine. It is the 3FE, which is essentially the same engine Rob Z has, but fuel injected. It's not in super good shape, at least cosmetic wise, but it runs very well. The AC compressor works, but sometimes it squeals a little bit, like it's having some kind of clutch issue or maybe a bearing. But other than that, you can see the new master cylinder I installed. Let me show you the parts I'm going to be putting on it. So the first part, most obvious one I guess, is I got a new front bumper. I got that at Summit Offer or Summit Racing, and I put some Pour 15 on it and did a terrible job. So I'll be sanding that down and spraying it with some black and probably then clearing it after that. And then I have amassed this collection of parts while I've been waiting for Rob Z to get his junk out of my shop. So we'll start from the right, I guess. I kind of broke them down into little subsystems. So I've got a new water pump, new thermostat, and so this is the cooling section. I got all new radiator hoses. Moving on, this is the rear wiper and wiper blade. Transmission filter. It's got an automatic transmission, so it was clunking around a little bit, shifts a little rough. I changed the fluids already on everything, cause, back when I was planning on driving it up here. So the headlights, you can see this one, these little caps on top are supposed to seal, but this one clearly is not sealing, and a bunch of water got in here and rusted it out. It still works, but it looks awful. So I put an ad out on I Hate Mud, which is like a Land Cruiser / Toyota off-roading forum, very popular one. Then I needed some headlights, and I picked all these up for $200, and the mirror. Let me show you the mirror. So this mirror has been RTV'd in. It's not in a good position for me. It's pretty much useless at this point. Even if it was, I would still want to replace it. So, same person that sold me these headlights also sold me this mirror. And it's in pretty good condition. But I got a great deal on this stuff, so I'm not going to complain. This little tab is broken, so I'll be epoxying that. Maybe even putting a little fiberglass on there, strengthen it a little bit. And it's probably not best to film this upside down, so. But other than that, pretty good shape. I'm going to take all this out and paint this as well because it's champagne. And I got this frosty white over here. I also got color match spray paint on Amazon. Way too much of it. There's another couple cans in there. Anyways, back over here, you got the fuel filter, front brake pads, front brake rotors, complete set of brake lines for the whole truck. Whenever I buy an old shitbox Toyota, I like to sort the brakes out first. I always say brakes are probably the second most important thing on your car behind tires. Or maybe they're number one. I don't know. Comment below. What do you guys think is the most important? So I got some silicone vacuum lines. Another thing, especially you're getting into the early 90s, late 80s era of cars, there's going to be a lot of these, and they're not going to be in good shape. So yeah. This is one of the two rear struts. I've already replaced the hood struts. Front came with no windshield wiper arms at all, so I got kind of splurged a little bit on the OEM Toyota wiper arms. The reason I got really expensive OEM Toyota parts on a budget build is, yeah, you could probably find some used ones, but the springs wear out and they just don't work very well, and you want to be able to have good wipers in the rain because it's already kind of sketchy, and something with no ABS. So why stack the odds against you, right? New spark plugs, new rotor for the distributor, new distributor cap, new spark plug wires, and this is a knuckle rebuild kit, which I believe comes with new wheel bearings as well. That's the other thing I've learned the hard way, is that when you're getting these old Toyota 4x4s, first thing I do is crack the knuckle and inspect the wheel bearings. I've had hubs lock up and tires seize on this guy because I didn't do that, and so ever since then, it's the first thing I do. You don't know who's been in there, what's been in there. You don't know if they went into a bunch of water and now there's just a big rust factory going on. So yeah, plan is to replace all these things and get it rolling and reliable. I mean, it runs and drives now, but the brakes are really bad. So what should I do first? Alright, I forgot a few things. The interior. So what are the plans for that? So this seat has seen some better days. So what I'm going to try to do is see if I can swap the bottom cushions on the two seats. And if not, I might end up look into getting to some replacement. The other thing on the list is tires. Have not bought those yet. As you can see, I have quite the assortment of mismatched tires. Not going to use those wheels either. Those wheels are from my FJ80 that I don't use. So what I am going to do is put the original wheels back on. I've got a set of those that came with it. Those are right here. Probably refurbish those a little bit, polish them up, clean them up, maybe even powder coat them. I don't know if that's in the budget. Speaking of the budget, so as is right now with the cost of the vehicle, everything I've spent on it, the grand total leaves $918 in the budget. That's not a whole lot of money for a set of 5 tires, so I might have to get a little creative. Also, the air conditioning compressor probably needs to be replaced, and that kind of eats into the budget. So just gonna have to play it by ear, I think. But I think I'm gonna tackle the cosmetic stuff first.